Good afternoon. How are you? Well, as you can see from the clouds over my head, we're lucky to be out. It's not raining right now. There's not even that kind of misty Irish rain that I like, but it could happen any second. Thomas Jefferson was walking alongside us. He'd say the temperature is about 78 and the humidity is 81. No surprise there. And the wind's at 6 miles an hour. Doesn't seem true, but Thomas knows better than I know. I'm not going to talk about that worthless mayor in New York who should step down immediately. The governor and all the leading politicians of the state, Democrat and Republican, if not now, will shortly all ask for that. All those people who left his employ in recent months, as a good sampling of those will probably be the witnesses against him. The case sounds strong, but you never know, and every person is entitled to be presumed innocent. But it fits who I thought he was. Although, in my experience, when you represent a client who's been charged with anything, people say, oh, I knew it the way he took out the garbage. He was that kind of a person. But I think we're dealing with something else here with Mayor Adams. And I think good riddance to bad rubbish. And I think an appointment of, a former judge to hold the fort down rather than any deputy mayor, and a special election in 90 days, and I hope Maya will think of running for that. Maya Wiley was and is a terrific candidate. She's young, has the energy, as I said the other day, and she has the experience, but she also has the ability to bring people together. And I've gotten to know her basically from green rooms and functions having to do with MSNBC, but I also watched her perform publicly when she was a candidate. Now, I'm not saying there isn't somebody else out there, but she's my leading nominee. Judge Chutkan, another person in the news, she's got to sort out some questions, and they're terrific questions. They're questions raised, if you will, by the Supreme Court that decided, oh, why shouldn't the president be immune? Who are these people? Adams wouldn't say that. George Washington wouldn't say that. The world celebrated the fact that Washington knew he was immortal. A-mortal, not immortal, a-mortal. So what I'm talking about is that a really thick, healthy-sized brief is submitted to the court today, and it's going to be submitted under seal, meaning it's not public. The judge can make it public. I hope the judge does make it public. And the significance of it is to deal jot and tittle with all those elements of the Supreme Court case as applied to the facts in Trump's interference with the government and his efforts to overthrow the government, and to distinguish by the evidence they have that case does not protect Trump from this prosecution. I think that's terrific. I think that's what the nation needs. And of course, Trump doesn't want this to be considered because it's getting close to the election. Well, he should have thought of that. And on our side, somebody got to run Gartland out of town. This guy has been so quiet as so many outrageous things have happened in this nation. And if he's not the arbiter for justice in America, with or without consulting with the president, then he should go and start a book club or something, because he's not doing anything for America. It's a scandal. So much about him. The New York Court of Appeals, the judges were considering how much, if any, of the $454 million civil fraud judgment against Trump must be paid. Now, this is a simple question for me. The interesting thing is that the court is saying, the people, the parties to this, they were happy at the end of the day. Well, yeah, people, when they make crimes, they work best if everybody comes out on top in some way or other. And so there was a quarrel about how did you make the determination as to the amount of the loss. And the answer, simple one, was looking at the difference in the rates that could be used based on the lies that were told. And that's how they got the 454 million. So I don't know what the court is going to do, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let the courts do whatever the hell they want, for good or right, bad or wrong. I'm voting against this schmuck, and I hope everybody else does. I've already voted against them. And it's a coincidence, not a deliberate outcome, when the people are favored with this guy. You know, he'll be a woman's protector. The guy is so weird. He's a stalker. He doesn't care about women at all. And it's so interesting that, like a cartoon on Saturday when you're a kid, this Snidely Whiplash comes onto the scene and says the things that we know, looking at him. We know they're false. We know what he says is false. And yet, nobody jumps up and has the equivalent metaphor of punching him in the face with a civil case and standing by it, throwing him out of office, barring him from running for office. How is that? So, when parties are happy, that's not an indication as a matter of law or fact that what's going on is good here. Then, if there's not enough going on, and I guess that Trump decided if he makes the most outrageous statements, then he'll get coverage, and he espouses the rule implicitly that if you're being thought of and mentioned and so forth, that's good for you. Well, I hope he's going to be proven wrong. When I had to go by the place where daily voting is, I saw very few Republicans, and I saw a line of Democrats lined up in my county, Loudoun County, to vote in Virginia. In recent polls had moved to the point where Kamala was 8 points ahead, and that's certainly beyond the margin of error. So what we're talking about is are the vectors moving in the right direction as we approach November the 5th, and I think they are. So Trump attacks Ukraine this week. Now, I don't consider my criticism of what role we should play in the case of Ukraine. They decide to launch something into Russia. I think we have to be careful how we aid, and that we aid in a defensive war. That's not easy. Being involved anywhere near a battlefield, an unpredictable scenario, is doubtless going to occur. But what Trump says is, when I get elected, even before I'm sworn in, I can take care of this. And then he hints at what it is, and that is that, you know, all they have to do is give up a little bit. Yeah, give up a little bit. Since Putin couldn't seize the territory himself, we should give it to him. And that's what Trump is prepared to do. My partner, when the beginning of the Ukraine invasion, he put up the flag of Ukraine on our front door, our glass door, so everybody could see what I believe most citizens agree is the case. Ukraine is an example in democracy. This Hitler-like criminal, Putin, or Stalin-esque, we don't have to go that far. We can choose some of his native terrible people. Well, we can't be on the same side as Putin in this issue. I'm not saying there's not anything that we could agree about. There are some things I'm sure we could. Maybe I should hesitate about sure, but in a platonic sense, we can imagine things that we might agree about. But this war is not one of those, and it is possible that Zelensky will lose, but we hope that he's going to prevail. And apparently, what's going on in Russia has got Putin on a hot tin roof, jumping around a little bit. And I think that's good. That tells us that what Zelensky is doing is working. Some of the allies may find it comfortable to send weapons that will be used offensively inside of Russia and not just to defend Ukraine. But that's the mess of the world these days. How do people under intense pressure and scrutiny make the right decisions that honors our nation state but helps another that's besieged? by a war criminal by all accounts. So that's what I got to say today, and it's a little brief. Tomorrow I'll probably be traveling to Georgia, and I'll probably stop halfway there and see what the weather's like to see if I go the remaining distance. I'm hopeful that I will, but I don't know that. I'm not going there to help the prosecution. It's a Georgian retreat in the middle of a tropical storm or whatever it is by that time. So I say good day to you. It's nice to be out from my cathedral of trees. All the best. Bye-bye.